Good morning, everybody. Can you hear me? No? Can you hear me here? Okay, it's better. Thank you. So, good morning, everybody. At first, Laurent Thieffry, chairman of AFCEN, apologized because he has another meeting in the same time. So, on behalf of him, Frédéric Beau, chairman of editorial committee, and myself, Didier Vieux, general secretary, will give this presentation. So the topic of this presentation is about the fact that AFCEN codes are serving nuclear industry. So I will give a general So I will give a general presentation of AFCEN. What is AFCEN? What are products? What projects are using AFCEN code? And a photo of editorial program. After that, Frédéric will give several illustrations of the link between AFCEN codes and nuclear industry. Okay, so that is the original meaning of the name of AFCEN, but now it is simply named AFCEN. So AFCEN has been operating for more than 50 years, with still increasing participation of members. So we are now about 80 companies, which represents a total of about 800 experts working in different fields. Just a map of different members in AFCEN. So as you can see, most of the line are pointing out France in Europe, but there is also a few major partners in China and also a couple of contributors elsewhere, notably in USA. Well, what are our products? So our products is to produce AFCEN codes and also guides which provide complementary or alternative rules to the codes. What is significant in this slide is the fact that the field covered is very large. So we are producing codes in mechanical components field with 3 codes: RCC-M, RCC-MRX, RCC-M. A code in civil works, a code in electrical and INC, a code in fuel components, and also a code in fire protection. So it's very large. The last slide after shows the homepage of AFCEN website. So you can here, so it's interesting, you can see that you can order a code in this on this site. You can also join us if you want to work on code, so you can become a new member, so it's possible to do that. And also on the side you can see all the trainings that are possible on our codes. You can also take part to the update of the codes, so you can send us a request for modification of the code, or also a request for interpretation of the code. And also feedback if you have some feedback on the use of the code. Our main mission and ambition. So our mission is to develop and provide code of scores. Our mission is to provide reference nuclear code in Europe and chosen code around the world for the guarantee of safety and the effectiveness in standardizing industrial practices and capitalizing on feedback experience. So, in fact, the code are a balance between safety requirements and available industrial means. So, the code ensures the sector competitiveness, and also they must be trusted by authorities. So consequently, we're making safety as a priority in our codes and industrial performance a goal. So for aiming performance and efficiency, we're proposing graded requirements according to the given safety issue. We're delivering explicit and accessible codes that can be used by all nuclear stakeholders. We highlight the gain for the user, engineering, manufacturers, and owners, and we'll also enable the introduction of innovation in our codes. we also meet the needs of projects and industry manufacturers. So we take into account feedback from different fields over time. We select practices from standards and applicable by industry manufacturers in order to facilitate the compliance of suppliers' products with AFCEN codes. We also strengthen the stability and reliability of projects through the standardization of industrial practice. We have in AFCEN a strategic plan. So there is three main components in the strategic plan. The first one is relative to the editorial policy. So our challenge is to have a program of work which is shared by all industry members in order to strengthen our products. So our codes ensure compliance with safety requirements and regulation. The second component is about the interaction with stakeholders. So we want to interact even more to be known and recognized for developing relevant and efficient rules, of course. We have also a challenge related to the knowledge in our codes and ability to use them properly. And to meet these three challenges, in fact, and to reach these goals, so it is vital to gain the contribution from relevant experts. And so we have also a resource access in this strategic plan. The slide here shows the different projects that used AFCEN codes. So as you can see, more than 1,000 nuclear power plants have been designed and constructed by using AFCEN codes and are under operation. And today we have still 19 under construction. If we make a focus on actual projects, so you can see in Europe there is EPR in UK for Inclepoint and Sizewell, EPR2 in France with Penly, Graflin and Bugey, but also other projects such as Jules Horowitz and also in France, and ITER also, and Mira in Belgium. And in worldwide, there is also several constructions in China using AFCEN codes. Here, so we have a very large operating feedback, and all this feedback is considered in new edition of codes. We can distinguish two kinds. For PWR, so we had a first stage for French fleet and GN2 international projects, a second stage from 2005 up to now for EPR, in which we captured a large operational feedback. And so we arrive now to in a maturity phase, and the next phase will cover the construction of EPR2 and CMERs. For advanced reactor research and fusion reactors, so the photo is little different. There is less construction, and so we're increasing the scope with the time. So at the beginning there was only forced breeders reactors that were covered, but now the RCC-M RX code include also rules to cover Jules Horowitz and ITER reactor, and tomorrow advanced modular reactors. A brief photo of editorial program. So as I said, it covers the 7 codes, so I will go rapidly. And what is significant, so we have, of course, an editorial policy, but in editorial program, so we are setting objectives and topics to be developed in each code. This program is shared and agreed by AFCEN members, so periodically. It is driven by the priority to nuclear safety, the support to long-term operation and new nuclear, the efficiency and economic sustainability of nuclear power industry. We are also considering user needs, operational experience feedbacks, innovating practice, alignment with standards and regulation, and also improvement, editorial improvement. For the work process is very simple. We ensure that the participation for each topic, there is experts representing the industry. We are guaranteeing that the solution providing are endorsed and applicable by the industry. And we are aiming compliance of the solution with the applicable standards and regulation. And we are also seeking acceptance of the solution by regulators. Okay, so I will let the floor to Frédéric, who will go into example.
Thank you. Yes, I will now give you a couple of examples of AFCEN code features that can demonstrate that our codes are practical tools to be used by the industry. So the first argument is about the reference to standards and regulations in our codes. As depicted on this picture, you can easily see that all of our codes largely refer to international and European standards. So this is, to us, a good sign that the prescriptions for nuclear items in AFCEN codes, because this is really about nuclear system structure and components, that they rest on actual industrial practices through the use of international and European standards. So a couple of examples related to the use of standards is on first the RCC-CW code. This is a code for so just to mention that this code is fully based on the Eurocodes. Eurocodes are European standards mandatory for the design of conventional civil structures, buildings and bridges typically. And the RCC-CW code is also based on other European standards for the construction part. For example, geotechnical studies for nuclear power plants described in chapter DGOT, geotechnical studies, is based on Eurocode 7. The other example is for concrete structures, addressed for the design part in chapter DConc of the RCC-CW code, and fully based on Eurocode 2, EN 1992, apart from some exemptions in the code. So typically the example shown on this slide is related to the determination of the ultimate limit state of reinforced concrete elements, and as written on the slide, sometimes clauses of the Eurocodes are not allowed, and other additional criteria are given explicitly by the code. Here, in terms of the limitation for minimum reinforcement in case of pure tensile actions on the structure. Now let's go back to another code, the RCC-E, which is about the electrical and INC architecture and components for nuclear system. So the RCC-E is very, very strongly linked to IEC standards, and it covers all aspects of INC and electrical systems and components. And typically here, for the qualification of hardware aspect of class 1 and 2 INC systems, the RCC code used to refer to a nuclear IEC standards, 16987, with supplements and sometimes with a complete set of requirements and rules. But in its latest revisions, the IEC 16987 nuclear standards has fully integrated the solutions provided by the RCC code for hardware design, development, and manufacturing of class 1, 2, and 3 systems. So as a consequence, since edition 2022 of the RCC code, the code now fully refers to the latest revision of these IEC standards. Regarding regulations, because it is important for anyone to apply a code with a good assurance that it will meet the regulation. So the example given here is for mechanical equipment, in particular pressure equipment. As you all know, application of the pressure equipment directive is mandatory in Europe, but it doesn't, it precludes actually the nuclear pressure equipment, so it leaves it to the countries to define the appropriate requirements to be followed for such nuclear equipment. In France, it takes the form of the ESPN order, which translates actually the European directive for nuclear pressure equipment. And on a practical level, this is addressed in the RCC-M code in the form of an appendix and in the form of also related guidelines that help claim compliance with the ESPN requirements. So following this appendix and the code as a whole gives assurance that you will meet the ESPN requirements, and this has indeed been recently recognized by the French nuclear regulator, AFCEN, as using the RCC-M code and the related appendix, ESPN, they fully recognize that you will meet the ESPN requirements. Similarly, in the RCC-M-RX code for advanced reactors, mechanical components, they have also included such reference to ESPN requirements. And interestingly, also this RCC-M-RX code builds bridges with other national practices, such as in Belgium, with the enforcement, with the reference to the American NQA1 quality assurance standards. Now, second category of examples that AFCEN codes serve the industry is about the introduction of new industrial practices in the AFCEN codes. So here on this slide, the introduction of advanced non-destructive examination in the RCC-M code during the construction of mechanical components. Typically for volumetric examination, classic practices are radiographic and ultrasonic testing. As early as in its 2016 edition, the RCC-M code already opened the possibility to use advanced ultrasonic testing techniques, typically time-of-flight diffractions or phased array. But you had to demonstrate the equivalence in terms of performance of these advanced techniques compared to the more classic ones. But now that operational experience has been gained, a full integration of these advanced techniques as fit for purpose is being considered in the next revision of the code. This one is about back to the civil works and the introduction of steel concrete structures. Just a word to say that in early 2025, AFCEN has published a comprehensive review of the material available in support of the codification of steel concrete structures for nuclear structures, for nuclear plants. And this actually paved the way for the introduction of rules in the code in its 2025 edition to be released later this year, so in 2025. Okay. Maybe this one I will be very short. Just an example that RCC code also can provide alternative rules for the procurement of classified INC systems and equipment. There is a route following an IEC nuclear standards, 62671, and there is also a route for using a non-nuclear standard, 61508, with some clarifications and amendments proposed by the code to make it a nuclear class component. So we think this is really helpful and demonstrate the possibility to use commercial grade equipment with a reasonable additional effort to comply with nuclear class INC requirements. And this one is about additive manufacturing. Just a word to say that it's ongoing, and we will soon have in probationary phase rules in the RCC-M-RX rules to support the qualification of advanced manufacturing techniques. And this is also underway for the RCC-M code. It's being assessed at the moment as we speak and will be available later in the further revision of the code. So lastly, just a few words on the introduction of new reactor technologies in our codes, and I will take the example of the RCC-M code. RCC-M code was first created in 2012, but actually it merged two previous existing codes, one dedicated to fast breeder reactors, RCC-M, and the RCC-MX dedicated to experimental reactors. And over time, the RCC-M has continuously increased this scope of application. Beyond fast breeders reactors, elements for ITER facility, actually the vacuum vessel, were introduced as soon as 2007, sorry, in the RCC-MRX, even in the RCC-MR, sorry, and then carried over into RCC-MRX. And in 2012, RCC-MRX introduced elements for irradiation facilities, then for innovative coolants in 2018 and core internals in 2022. So just to say that with this history, the RCC-MRX code now offers a wide range of technical solutions benefiting from the development made for previous successive applications. And it now covers data and methods suitable for mechanical equipment operating at high temperature and high level of irradiation, in particular in terms of materials. And these features make the RCC-MRX code an attractive tool for advanced reactor, exhibiting innovative materials, coolants, or design features. And as a matter of fact, various AMR projects, advanced modular reactor projects, have shown interest in the RCC-MRX code for using it and also joining the subcommittee and other collaborative forums such as the European Workshop 64 and also contributing via these forums to a proposal for modification. And I will hand back to Didier for the conclusion.
Okay, thank you, Frédéric. So I will conclude rapidly with one slide. So if I sum up, in fact, AFCEN code are compliant with industry standards and regulations. We also integrate a very large operational experience. We take into account the state of technology and industry practice. We also consider the integration of rules useful for the new reactor technologies. And we also, AFCEN is also liaising with the international community. So don't forget to interact with AFCEN with www.afcen.com. And just to finish, so we can have now exchange of questions just after. And we are invited to continue the discussion, the conversation with us on the stand AFCEN at 12 during a cocktail. So you're all invited to the cocktail. Thank you.